Broncos country, it's time for another Madden 23 rebuild, as today we are taking on the Denver Broncos in what will be perhaps the most interesting and challenging rebuild of the year so far. We all know about the Russell Wilson trade, which at this point truly does have the potential to go down as the worst trade in NFL history. And because of that trade, our cap situation is going to be a mess. Our draft picks are going to be minimal to start things off. We have truly been dug into a hole here, and all that we can do about it is grab our shovels and get to work. Broncos country, let's climb. I would like to start the rebuild off with a disclaimer that I am starting with the furthest possible week EA will give us when it comes to real life rosters, stats, and records, and that is currently week 10. So we are going to be starting things off with the Broncos having a 3-5 record. I'm not going to sim any wins or losses, I'm not going to mess with it. That is going to be our starting point. Now let's look at the roster. And before we even get a chance to look at the roster, I have to make one move right off the bat. I don't do this with every team that I rebuild, just teams whose coaches I have absolutely zero faith in. The last time I did this was with Matt Rule, shortly before he got fired in real life, and Nathaniel Hackett, you are done. One more relevant thing to note as far as the coach is concerned is that usually I do try and give it a year or two as far as the playbooks are concerned with whatever team that I'm taking over, but we need to get any shred of Nathaniel Hackett out of the building. So we are immediately going with my preferred offensive playbook, that is the Bengals, and my preferred defense of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, let's get started. Let's look at the roster. And for us, the story of this rebuild, at least for the first couple of years, is going to be quarterback Russell Wilson. 33 years old, already down to a 79 overall, which given his play on the field this year seems generous. He is going to be a massive headache for us. We cannot outright cut him right away. We can't trade him. He has a massive cap hit. Let's just take a quick look at that contract before we even move on to the rest of the team. So not only did the Broncos trade for Russell Wilson, they also decided to give him a massive contract extension. You can see here, total value is $296 million. His bonus is $97 million, which I believe is what we would owe him if we were to cut or trade him right now, if we even could. Here's his cap hit by year. Pretty moderate to start things off, $17 million, then it climbs up to $22. By 2024, it's $35.4, $55.4 in 2025, $58 in 2026. The guy is just a massive, massive headache for us to deal with. He is going to be on the roster here, if I had to guess, probably through the 2023 season before we figure out what we can do with him. My hope is that we can find a mid-round replacement for him in the draft since we don't have a first or a second, and maybe he decides to do the right thing and retire. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see, but Russell Wilson is going to be something that we are dealing with for a while here. And the unfortunate thing is that the whole reason the Broncos traded for Russell Wilson was because they believed they had a team that was a quarterback away. And honestly, with how the defense has played this year, they very well still might be. It's going to be tough for us to try and retain this talent and to be able to bring additional talent in through free agency in the draft, but at the running back position, Javonte Williams, before his injury, he was looking incredible. Melvin Gordon, of course, is still on the roster. I will go ahead and release him since I know that he was cut in real life. Outside of that, it's pretty much just a bunch of bridge guys, but Javonte is a stud. Fullback position, we've got Andrew Beck, got to show love to that position. Receiver, Cortland Sutton, 26 years old, 84 overall. Judy, I believe he has more promise in Madden than what he has probably shown in real life thus far, although hard to blame any of the receivers here given what they've had to deal with at the quarterback position. Outside of that, you've got Tim Patrick. KJ Hamler, definitely some hope for him, 23 years old, 75 overall. Not a whole lot else, but definitely not the worst receiving core ever. Tight end Albert Okwuegbunam, I hope I pronounced that correctly, 24 years old, 70 overall. Greg Dulcich, which he has been incredible in real life lately, and I mean incredible by Denver Broncos standards, but still the guy's looking really good. I think we'll slide him in. He will be our immediate starter there. Left tackle Garrett Bowles, who already 30 years old, time flies, but definitely a solid left tackle when healthy. Not a whole lot else outside of him. Left guard, you got Dalton Ristner, fine, I guess, and Graham Glasgow. So a couple decent guys. Lloyd Cushenberry is your starting center. 73 overall, but still decently young. Quinn Miners is 23 years old, 76 overall, second-year player, so very nice there. And then at right tackle, it's just a couple bridge guys in Tom Compton and Billy Turner. Now defensively, this is a unit that has had to carry this team all year long. Left end, you don't really have a whole lot going on. Right end, you've got Draymond Jones, so not really a whole lot there either. Defensively, you've got, at DT, you've got DJ Jones and Mike Purcell. Outside linebacker, starting things off with Randy Gregory, free agent addition this offseason. At the middle linebacker position, it's Josie Jewell, Alex Singleton, Jonas Griffith, okay. Other outside linebacker spot, you've got Baron Browning, 23 years old, 76 overall, another second-year player. I definitely feel we can develop him. And corner position, you have Pat Surtain, who has cemented himself as, dare I say, a top 5 corner, if not top 5, top 10, but he is certainly making a case for himself. PS2 is a stud. Ronald Darby is fine, Kawan Williams is fine, and then outside of that, it's pretty much just Surtain, but yeah, franchise player right there. Free safety, Justin Simmons is getting sneakily old. Will we be able to retain him? Still a 92 overall, but I would imagine probably wants to play for a winner. And Kareem Jackson, 34 years old, 82 overall, with not a whole lot going on behind him. And that is your team, guys. Now, since we are starting things off here in week 10 already, there really are not a whole lot of moves that we can make before we get to the offseason, so I'm going to go ahead and sim to the playoffs. We'll see what kind of record we ended the year with, how the stats are looking, and we will go from there. Now at the end of the season, we are sitting here with a 5-12 record, which honestly is going to be pretty close, I feel, to what the Broncos end up with in real life. I believe they're 3-9 right now, so let's look at the stats and see how we got here. And these are the 2022 stats for the Broncos. So offense coming in at 27th, absolutely dreadful there. Defense coming in at 7th. So very similar to real life, honestly. Elite defense and just a wretched offense. So Wilson, 4,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, 18 picks, passer rating of 81. Yeah, that is terrible. In the run game, Latavius Murray was our leading rusher, 551 yards on the ground. Receiving, Cortland Sutton somehow manages to find 1,200 yards and 4 scores, so good for him, I suppose. Blocking, how'd we do? Honestly, not terrible numbers as far as sacks are concerned. Defensively, Jonas Griffith, third-year player out of Indiana State, is our leading tackler with 100. Sacks, we got 7 from Draymond Jones, so not much of a pass rush at all. Interceptions, though, quite a few. Spread out, Pat Surtain and Caden Stearns each hauling in 2. So yeah, those are your stats, guys. End of season recap here. You've got the Cowboys as world champs over the Chargers, 41-24, 17-point win in the Super Bowl. Zeke is your MVP, and just to note, Jalen Hurts is regular season MVP, which as of right now, he definitely has a case, him and Mahomes, so very interesting there. Now let's get to our offseason. And for our first real moves of the series, let's look and see which free agents we are not bringing back. So Dalton Reisner, however you pronounce it, he didn't like our deal. He's not worth the franchise tag, so unfortunately, we're going to need a new left guard. Kareem Jackson's 35, Latavius Murray is 32. Not super interested in Darius Phillips or Jonas Griffith at a 72 overall. I did bring back Draymond Jones. I had to overpay for him just a little bit. We got him on a 3-year deal. But aside from that, yeah, I'm not really feeling any of these guys are major losses that we can't overcome. So let's move on to free agency. And as is the case in year 1 of these rebuilds most of the time, not a lot of exciting options out there. Now, Marcus Davenport we could definitely use. I am going to send an offer to him. You can see we are definitely in the running for him. We need a punter, so Tommy Townsend is an option for us. I think we should be able to get him in. Pat Peterson, just to get some depth at corner. Sheldon Rankin, same thing at DT. And David Questenberry, because we desperately need a right tackle. So let's see if we can get these guys in here. Patrick Peterson is still holding out on us. He still is. Let's see here. Okay, I think we got him. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Who did we miss out on? Okay, we must have missed out on Marcus Davenport. So the one really good player, if you can even call him good, I mean, yeah, he's solid, that we reached on, he's not coming. So just a bunch of mediocre guys. I'm thinking we might be in contention for the #1 overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. Okay, so post-free agency, here's how the team's looking. And honestly, guys, it's rough. The offensive line, we really don't have anyone outside of Garrett Bowles. Tight end, Dulcich should be starting for us. I'm going to go ahead and move him up if it will let me. It's because he's currently our starting fullback. So let me fix that here. What I will say is that I am adding guys to the trade block. So Russell Wilson, if I have to take a massive cap hit on him in our first offseason, I will do that for the benefit of the remainder of the rebuild. I'm not just going to sit here with him for the whole series. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's what we're doing. Courtland Sutton, he is sneakily getting close to age 30, so by the time we're ready to compete, he's going to be declining. He is probably on his way out. Same deal with Justin Simmons and Randy Gregory, who honestly isn't even really a scheme fit for us at this point in the 4-3, so hopefully we get some offers. So no trade offers yet, but we do have a 5th-year option decision to make on, who could it be? It is Jerry Jeudy. Yes, we are going to go ahead and pick up his 5th-year option, so that will prolong negotiations with him for a year. So that's good for us. Okay, so we do have some offers coming in here. Now, out of these teams, there is one that I would love to take. I would love to get Tariq Woolen and Kobe Bryant in here, but there is absolutely no way the Seahawks are making this trade to get Russell Wilson back. The only team that I could see feasibly trading for Russell Wilson would be the Commanders. The Colts have gone the washed-up quarterback route far too many times. The Texans aren't going to need him. The Vikings, I would assume, still have Kirk Cousins. So I don't mind this offer from the Commanders, but I think I am going to hold off. And Russell Wilson, I will probably hold on to here for just a little bit longer, just because I am a little bit scared of that massive cap hit we're going to have to take. It would probably take us into the negatives, and I don't know that I necessarily want to deal with that right this second. So Russell Wilson, we're going to hold on for now. Okay, next up on my list is Randy Gregory. Now, here's an offer I actually don't mind a ton from the Lions. It would give us Jeff Okudah, who I think is still just 23, maybe 24 at the oldest, so still developable, 79 overall. We could use him there in our secondary, and I believe this is Haloti Vitae, so some depth at the right guard position we could use. I'm going to go ahead and take that. So Randy Gregory is gone, Jeff Okudah is in. Okay, so next up on my list is Courtland Sutton, and here is an offer from the Colts. It's Alec Pierce, a 2023 third and a 4th in next year's draft. I don't know that this is the most realistic offer in the world, but this is not a realistic rebuild by any means. We try and stick as close to it as possible, but at the end of the day, guys, it's a video game, so I'm going to take this offer here. I think Alec Pierce has a lot of potential, especially with the playbook that we run. I think he can put up good numbers. We could definitely use the draft picks, and we could also stand to get cheaper at the position, so Courtland Sutton for Alec Pierce and some picks, we'll take it. And finally, we've got the best player currently on the roster, Justin Simmons, 92 overall, but the guy is 30 at this point. Time really does fly. I've got 2 offers I'm torn between. The Patriots sending Kyle Duggar, 2020 draft pick, so still plenty young, fills a position of need for us, but will likely need extended here soon, along with Tyquan Thornton, so he will be a 2nd-year player, blazing fast, and a 1st-round pick in next year's draft. Or the Panthers, who are offering DJ Moore, excellent wide receiver, and 2 seconds in this year's draft, which could help us find a quarterback early on if we go that route. But I'm thinking I go with New England's offer, because even if I take these picks from the Panthers, I don't know that I want a quarterback this early on. I think I'd like to build the team up a little bit more, get the Russell Wilson thing taken care of, so I'm going to go with this offer from New England. So Justin Simmons for Kyle Duggar, Tyquan Thornton, and a future 1st. I think as far as EA offers go, that's fair enough. We'll take that. And yeah, let's get into the draft. So big moves have been made here. Okay, so the draft is here. The Texans are picking first. We do have the 19th overall pick. That is going to come from the Randy Gregory trade. That's a pick from the Dolphins. So let's get on the board. Let's see who's available. So here in the 1st round, I'm looking at my potential Justin Simmons replacement, Deacon McBride. I love the name, 22 years old, out of UCLA. B hit power, C man, I don't love that. B tackling, which is solid, and A to C zone. So if that zone comes out at an A or a B, I think we've got ourselves a nice player here. Pretty fast with a 4.5 40, broad jump is good, 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle, all looking very nice. He has a 35 vertical, so not bad at all. I think for a late first round pick, I think we might have a decent player here, fingers crossed. He is normal dev, yikes. Okay. That doesn't mean everything though, so Deacon McBride might still be something for us, but that is our first round selection here. So Justin Simmons, it's big shoes to fill, but hopefully Deacon McBride can do that with one of the best names that I've seen in a minute. Now our next pick comes in the 3rd round. Let's see who's available there. Okay, so early here in the 3rd, pick 4, I'm looking at Michael Adams, a potential piece to help us build that O-line that is just not great right now. He's just 21 years old out of Florida State, pretty solid numbers, B to D awareness, A to C impact, B pass, and B run block. So pretty solid across the board. And then as far as his physicals go, not bad in any major category. 32 reps on the bench, that's not terrible by any means. I think Michael Adams can be a good player for us. Let's hope for hidden dev. No, he's normal as well, but I think he'll be a solid player for us. I really do, especially in the 3rd round, not bad for us. Now we do have 2 picks in the 3rd round. Next up, I'm looking at Oscar Luckett here. So again, really like the name, 21 years old out of USC. He looks like a very solid player. B to D block shed, A pursuit, A to C tackle, and A zone coverage, which I love. That would fit our scheme perfectly. How are his athletics? Nothing really pops, but I do like the 3-cone drill and the 20-yard shuttle being best in the class. I think Oscar Luckett could be a great player for us too. Hopefully our first hidden dev, and yes, he is. So love to see that. A guy with A zone coverage in the 3rd round, I think Oscar Luckett might be a steal for us. I really do. Now we don't pick again until the 5th round, so we go nearly a round and a half without a selection, but let's get to round 5, pick 4, see who might still be available at this point. Okay, so here in the 5th round, there really just are not a lot of great options left on the board. If I trade back, I know I'm not going to get a whole lot, so I figure we might as well get ourselves a fullback, and this is the best one available, Deshaun Goodwell. Pretty solid in every category. He's already 24 years old. I don't love that, but at the end of the day, he's a fullback. He is tops of the class or close to it in just about every category. Should help open up some lanes for us in the run game, hopefully. So let's just go ahead and take Deshaun Goodwell here. I don't know that I've ever drafted a fullback, but we definitely need one. I don't want Dulcich accidentally getting put there by the CPU again, so now we actually have one on the roster. Now let's get to the end of the draft. So here's the draft recap, and honestly guys, I don't think that we did terrible. So I know we had a few normal dev guys, but Deacon McBride coming in at 75 overall, that's great, I feel. Michael Adams is 74 and just 21 years old. Oscar Luckett, he is a 72. I'd hoped for a little bit better, but I still think he'll start for us. And then Cody Mason? I don't remember taking Cody Mason. Did I? Okay. That is odd. I genuinely do not remember selecting this guy, but I guess Cody Mason got taken with another 3rd round pick for us. Weird. And then Deshaun Goodwell is the fullback that we selected. He's a 73, and the CPU took Ciante Randall, a running back for us. So interesting draft class, but I think they should be able to contribute. Alright, so about to kick the season off, 2023 NFL season. Let's just highlight a couple of our new starters here. So it's still going to ride on Russell Wilson, unfortunately. But he is now going to have Alec Pierce as his wide receiver 2. Goodwell is in the backfield as our starting fullback. Dulcich, forgive me, is our starting tight end now. Adams, the rookie, is going to start at right guard. So a few new starters there, a few new faces. And then defensively, McBride in for Justin Simmons. Luckett is going to get the start at outside linebacker. So 2 rookies there. Not to mention Kyle Duggar, Jeff Okuda, so a few new faces on the defense as well. Sheldon Rankins is in there. It will be interesting. I still think it's going to be a bad team, don't get me wrong. I think 5-12 is probably realistic. I'm going to say 6-11 is this team's ceiling. My realistic projection is again 5-12. But let's get to the midseason point, see who's ready to negotiate, and see how the record is looking at that time. Okay, and at the midseason point, we are actually 3-3, and as you can see, coming off a 40-23 loss to the Dolphins, so very surprised that this team can put up 23 points. That is an offensive explosion. Let's see who's ready to negotiate. Looks like 5 players, so not a whole lot. Okay, so here is how things currently stand. So 2 of our recent trade acquisitions, Kyle Duggar, Jeff Okudah, both are going to be up. I'd like to bring both of them back. I will definitely try my best to. Sheldon Rankins, I'm okay with him just being a 1-year rental. Ronald Darby, I don't think he fits into our long-term plan. Same with Josie Jewell. KJ Hamler, I think, will be a no for us. Lloyd Cushenberry, I think we could probably do better in the draft. Outside of that, I'm not really seeing a whole lot here. So yeah, I would say really just those 2 secondary players, Kyle Duggar and Jeff Okudah. Let me try and get them back here. Okay, so Kyle Duggar, it does take a player-friendly offer. It's a 4-year contract, but Kyle Duggar is going to be here long-term. That would get him through his age 31 season. Now, Jeff Okudah, he's in the red, but he's pretty close to being at least yellow for us. He wants a 5-year deal. What if we bumped it up and made it a 6-year deal? Okay, so Jeff Okudah is not super interested. I might wait on him. I think Jeff Okudah is someone I'm okay with waiting on. Everyone else, we're fine. We're fine. And also, take a note of that cap space, $86 million. We're not going to have nearly that amount, but I think we might finally be in a position to where we can cut Russell Wilson, have a rough year with the salary cap, and then finally be back on our feet. Fingers crossed. So now let's get ourselves to the playoffs. I would be absolutely shocked if we make it here. Looks like we're battling with the Chargers for second place. The Raiders are 0-7. That is absolutely incredible. They actually usually do pretty well in Sim, so that is intriguing to me to see. I wonder why they are so bad. But now we're going to get to the playoffs again. If I had to update my projection, I would say 7-10. Maybe this team overperforms a little bit, but still, I think 7-10 is your max here. I'm going to go with 6-11 final answer on that. We're about a week or so away here, so let's see if that prediction holds true. What are the Broncos going to finish 2023 at? They are going to go 5-12. Okay, so my original prediction. So 3-3 to start, but they go 2-10 down the stretch. Absolutely dreadful performance. Very close loss to New England week 18 though, 36-35. That might be a scoregami. Let's look at the stats here. So again, offense struggles a little bit better though, 24th compared to 27th last year, and defense does come crashing down, 30th in the league. And I mean, it has to come down to the guys that we traded away. That is the reality of the rebuild, is it was a great defense, but for a long-term rebuild, it just was not going to work out for us. Russell Wilson, though, 4,800 yards, 34 touchdowns, 22 picks, so he was slinging it. His passer rating went up to almost 90. Still not good enough. The run game didn't really get a whole lot done, but that is the reality of the Bengals playbook. However, Javonte Williams did get 15 rushing scores. In the receiving game, Judy picks up 1,200 yards and 1,105 for Alec Pierce, so he filled that Cortland Sutton void very nicely. 909 for KJ Hamler. And even Dulcich was getting involved there. He picks up 769 and 4, very nice. Blocking, how did we do? 14 allowed by David Questenberry. We're going to need a new right tackle, that is for certain. Josie Jewell leading tackler with 130. Sacks, probably not very good. No, 8 from Sheldon Rankins, 7 from Baron Browning. Okay, very nice. Interceptions, 4 from Jeff Okudah, 4 from Pat Surtain, 2 from Kyle Duggar, and 1 from Baron Browning. So pretty quiet from our rookies. I don't love to see that. And here is your season recap, and this is the first time I've ever seen a Steelers Super Bowl, Steelers-Eagles, as the Eagles win the Super Bowl over the Steelers 31-24. Jalen Hurts, 1 year after becoming regular season MVP, he takes it a step further, winning his first Super Bowl MVP award. It looks like rookie quarterback Tyler Fitzsimmons won week MVP this year. That is absolutely incredible. And Von Miller, who just tore his ACL in real life, is your defensive player of the year. Just a couple things to note there. And now let's get to our offseason. Okay, so off-season negotiations here, $112 million in cap space, so quite a lot to work with here. Still, the only guy I'm really interested in is Okudah. So I know last time I tried to bump up the original offer by a year. What if we go with a player-friendly deal? It's a 5-year deal, and even increase the pay a little bit because he did play very well for us last year. So Jeff Okudah, young guy, well-deserved. That's the kind of player that you want to build around. Still leaves us with $104 million, and in that case, I might actually give Russell Wilson another year on the roster. Probably not as the starting quarterback, but still on the roster. That way we can hold on to some of that cap space, not have that massive penalty. Now let's see how the team's looking, and let's see what kind of free agents we might be able to bring in, and maybe start working towards being a competitive football team again after that messy year 1. Alright, so here is the team. Let's just take a quick look here. Alec Pierce, he got moved. We're going to have to move him back. He's a 75 overall. We don't have a right tackle right now. Adams is up to a 76. I think that might be marginally better from where he was. Outside of that, yeah, the offense is still pretty mediocre, guys. Defensively, I don't know why they keep messing with me here. McBride is a 74, so he's actually down a little bit. Luckett also down. Yeah, it was just a bad year for this defense, guys. I don't know what to tell ya. We got to do better this year. Okudah is up to an 80, so he has developed a little bit. Surtain is an 89 X Factor. Everyone's confidence is down. That is impacting the team negatively. I think we're actually better than what it appears, but we're going to have to work on that. So let's see who's available. So as you guys can see, much better class than last year, but the problem is because we don't have a franchise quarterback, we're not a very good team, not a lot of players have interest in us. Now, one player I do want to bring up is Justin Herbert. And I would love to have Justin Herbert on the team, but for me personally, we're already paying Russell Wilson a ton. We're still not out of his contract, so I think if we go the quarterback route, we are going to need to go through the draft. Now, I don't want to completely rule it out. If we were to try and bring in Justin Herbert, what's that going to cost us? I mean, it's going to be like $40 million, and this could really ruin us, guys. Let's see if this would even put us in the running for Justin Herbert. I mean, we're in there. I'm willing to risk it. I'm willing to say we at least tried for Justin Herbert and we can figure out that cap situation with Wilson. Let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot here. We did send an offer to Nick Bosa because even though he didn't have a lot of interest in us, it was still worth it for a player of his caliber. He ends up with Seattle. Jonathan Taylor's a Falcon. Justin Herbert ends up in Houston. Very interesting. Okay. A lot of guys still out there. We did get Jalen Johnson. Xavier McKinney is a Panther. Clowney is going back to Seattle. Jedrick Wills is a Seahawk. Interesting. Who did we sign? I sent out some offers. We got Jalen Johnson and Jermaine Ifedi just to play right tackle for us for a year. Hopefully we can do better in the draft, but I think I'm going to let that be for now. Is there anyone on my target list who might still be available? No. So, pretty weak free agent class, but guys, we still have that Russell Wilson deal hanging over our heads. And now Wilson is going to incur a $68 million penalty if we were to get rid of him. Let me just see if anyone is willing to trade for him. Maybe this is the offseason where we bite the bullet and get rid of Russell Wilson once and for all. Okay, and here is the deal. So Russell Wilson is gone. He is heading to the Commanders. We are sending Russell Wilson a 4th and a future 4th for their first round selection. Now hear me out on this. I know it's a first round pick, but Russell Wilson did have a little bit of a bounce back year last season. So it does stand to reason that he still has some decent play left in him. Also, the Commanders are just simply one of the most inept franchises in the league. They have the cap space. I feel if anyone's going to give a first-round pick for Russell Wilson, it's these guys. Now, surprisingly enough, that move did not destroy our cap space the way that I thought it might. So I'm going to go out here and try and get a couple more guys. Gabe Davis, because Jerry Jeudy's contract will be up, and I don't know that Jeudy is necessarily worth a long-term deal. And Dalvin Tomlinson, because we've got that hole at DT. I think he could come in and play fairly well for us. So let's see here. Yes, we do get both of them. So this actually ends up being a pretty solid free agent class overall. Still some money to spend, some high draft picks. Hopefully we go out and get ourselves our quarterback. If there's not a good one available, we push it off for another year and probably have another losing season, but I like what we have here as far as our free agent class is concerned. Okay, so it is now time for the draft, and as you guys can see, we have got our work cut out for us. We need a quarterback, we need a right guard and a right tackle, probably could use a tight end. Receiver, I think we're okay. Running back, left side of the line is fine, but several major holes to fill there. And then defensively, the linebackers, we really don't have a whole lot of anything. Defensive line, kind of the same deal there. We need some new ends. We could use, honestly, I think we're probably okay in the secondary. That is the one silver lining for us, but linebacker, defensive line, quarterback, and the right side of the line, all major areas of concern for us right now. Okay, now it is time for the draft, and it feels like deja vu. The Texans again picking first overall here. Let's take a look at the draft board. How are the quarterback prospects shaping up to be this year? So here is what we're working with at the quarterback position. So a lot of guys actually projected round 1, 2 guys projected in the top 5, and Amani Chambers and Austin Martin. I think I'd be thrilled to get either of those two. If I miss out on them, what I would probably do is wait until pick 26 and then maybe take who's available at that point. I know the Josh Rosen route isn't the best strategy, but it's possible we would go with a late first round guy, see if he's got something. I know it might be a waste of a pick if he doesn't, but then next year, if he's bad, then we would be in a position to go out and really get our guy. I don't feel that we have the team to where it would be worth it for us to trade up if we can't land either of these guys, but let's just go one at a time here. I believe we're picking 4th, so we should actually be able to snag one of these two guys as long as the chips fall our way. So let's find out here. So the Texans, remember they signed Justin Herbert, so they shouldn't be going quarterback here. I would be surprised. Crazier things have happened in Madden. They do go with Chip Decker, the right tackle, so we've got a pretty good chance here. As long as Vikings and Titans don't both go quarterback, then we should be okay. The Vikings, they are going to go with Jay McCoy. Okay, so one of the two guys will be ours. Next up are the Titans. They are going to select, who is it? Brenton Farini, left end out of Oklahoma. So quarterbacks fall here. We actually have our pick of either guy. Let's see who we might want to take. Okay, so let's just briefly compare these two at the surface level. So Amani Chambers is a scheme fit for us. Not that that means a whole lot, but let's just compare them here. Deep accuracy, Chambers gets the edge. Medium accuracy, Chambers gets the edge. Short accuracy is an A for both, and throw under pressure is an A for both. I'm leaning Chambers, but let's just see here if anything can sway me in the other direction. So he's 22 years old. I believe they're both 22. He's slinging it, that's what it says. So whether the window is open or closed, I like that. He's not very fast, runs a 4.95, so he's not going to get a lot done on the ground. Not that he needs to, it's just in today's NFL, you kind of like to see that. Now on the other hand, we have Austin Martin. He is an improviser, so I'd have to imagine he's probably in like the 4.6s for his 40 time. He's also 22 years old out of Troy. He takes calculated risks, okay. And yeah, he's not very fast either, so it's tough, but I think I gotta go with my first guy here. Going with my gut feeling, the number 1 quarterback prospect on the board, Amani Chambers, is going to be the quarterback of the Denver Broncos. 4th pick overall, 2024 NFL Draft. Show me the hidden dev, please. He's got it. 97 throw power. Amani Chambers has got an absolute cannon. He's even going to wear number 4. 4th pick wearing number 4. That's symbolic. I like it. Amani Chambers, welcome to Denver. Now the good news with that is that we can use these next 2 picks, both of which are first rounders, to get this team some much needed talent. Start really building now for the future. Let's see who's available here at pick 16. Should be some solid players. Okay, so round 1, pick 16. I'm looking at Steve Whitmore here. We're listed as a top fit for him twice. Middle linebacker out of Ohio State, B to D block shed, A pursuit, A to C tackle, and A to C zone. So I would say pretty high ceiling for the guy. I like the age. He's not the slowest in the world. He's pretty strong. I think Steve Whitmore could be a very solid player for us. Fills a huge position of need. This is right where he should be going. Show me that hidden depth, please. He does have it as well. Very nice. So this is going much better already than our last draft class. We have ourselves, I would say, a franchise player now on each side of the ball, hopefully, with one more first-round pick to go. Okay, next on my list, I'm looking at Enrique Giles here, pick 26. He is shorter, just 5'8", but hear me out on this as well. The A-deep route, that should go very nice with our franchise quarterback who's coming in with 98 throw power. Should be able to chuck up bombs to him all day, and the guy runs a 4.3 240. Receiver is a bit of a sneaky need for us, especially if we can't afford to bring back Jerry Jeudy. So I definitely feel that pairing our franchise quarterback with hopefully a star wide receiver here would be a good step for us. And we are 3 for 3 now on hidden depth. This guy's got 96 speed, so he can definitely fly, wearing that number 14. So not exactly the same build as Courtland Sutton, but hopefully can produce at the same level as him. Back on the clock here, round 2, pick 4. I'm looking at Jeff Shields, DT out of Ohio State, just 21 years old. He is a run stopper, B block shed, C finesse, B power, and A to C tackle. So he looks like a very nice player here, and he could have gone in round 1. The guy is the fastest in the class. 4.89 for a DT is pretty good, and 40 reps on the bench. I think we might have found ourselves a real steal here. I love the numbers, and he does have normal dev. I was almost expecting to see hidden there for a second, but Jeff Shields I think will be a great player for us. I really do. And now here we are in the 3rd round, round 3, pick 4. It's another Buckeye I'm looking at here, Pat Mills. Pretty solid numbers, B awareness, A impact block, B to D pass block, and A to C run block. I don't think he's going to be amazing by any means, but I think he definitely can help us fill a hole. None of the athletic numbers pop out to me, but I think he's worth the selection here. I'm hopeful. He does come with normal dev, so that's okay. Let's go ahead and let the CPU round things out for us and see how this draft is looking on paper. So here is the draft recap, and I've got to say I'm very excited by what we're seeing here. Sometimes all it takes is a single draft class to really start turning a franchise around. We've seen it before, the 2012 Seahawks, for example, the 2017 Saints, and now possibly the 2024 Broncos. Amani Chambers coming in with a 74 overall. That's not amazing by any means, but I definitely think we can get it done with him. He's pretty much already playing at the same level Russell Wilson was, and at a fraction of the cost. Steve Whitmore, 75 overall. Enrique Giles is a 77. That actually makes Jeudy a little bit more expendable. Maybe we try and trade him. Jeff Shields is a 77. Pat Mills is a 72, so not bad. And then the CPU did go out and get us a right tackle, couple players for the defensive line, it looks like. So yeah, I'm happy with the draft class. I definitely think it's probably going to be a rough year 1 with these guys, but once we get to free agency, hopefully players then have interest, and then we can really start looking at competing. I definitely think we're looking good though, I really do. And here we are again, week 1 of the 2024 NFL season. Now here is where I think things can start to look up. All I'm looking for is this team to compete in year 1. I definitely don't think it's a playoff team. I think we've got too many holes for that, but I really need to see Chambers do some things here with this offense. He's got the weapons. The line is shaky for sure. We definitely are going to need some help there next offseason, but I think that he is in an okay position. I've definitely seen rookie quarterbacks in worse positions. Speaking of worse positions, the defense is going to be relying pretty heavily on rookies here. The secondary is pretty good. We've got 2 rookies starting now on the defensive line, one of which is someone that the CPU took for. It's just a 67 overall, not a lot of hopes there. But Whitmore, I'm definitely hoping can be our leading tackler. Let's get to the midseason point and see how we're feeling. Okay, midseason point, we are actually 4-3, so we're competitive, we're hanging in there, we're not a laughing stock by any means. That's, I believe, our best midseason record to date. Let's look here and see who's ready to negotiate. We know Jerry Jeudy is going to be one of them. The question is, are we bringing him back? Okay, so couple big names here already in Javonte Williams and Jerry Jeudy. Not loving the fact that neither has any interest. Garrett Bowles will definitely bring him back. And let's see here. Outside of that, it's just a couple of the rental guys that we brought in, those one-year deals. I'm not seeing anyone we absolutely have to have back. We're going to have a ton of money. So I think Judy we can probably let walk because we've got Gabe Davis, Alec Pierce, Enrique Giles. I don't think we necessarily have to pay him. Bowles I will bring back, and Javonte I will try to bring back here if we can. So even if I do a player friendly, the cap hit is not the end of the world. He's still pretty young. So yeah, Javonte Williams, he is locked down long term. That is something that I want to prioritize in these rebuilds, especially the longer term ones, is bringing back your good young guys. And normally I would do that with Judy, but it's just, we already invested in Gabe Davis. Judy has been good, not great, and I'd like to see what we can get from some of our younger guys as well. Now Bowles, I will go ahead and do here. Ugh, that's expensive. What if I do a 2-year deal for him? That's not the worst cap hit in the world. Okay, so Garrett Bowles is back as well. Everyone else we can probably disregard, I would say. And Judy, I'm not going to trade him. I will let him ride out this year. And you know what? If he crushes it number-wise, I'm not opposed to bringing him back. If he's got amazing chemistry with our new quarterback, then that is something I will consider. But let's get to the playoffs and see how things are looking then. Okay, so clearly a fall from grace here as we end the year 5-12, meaning we won one game in the second half of the season. That is bad. Let's upgrade the players here, take a look at the stats, and see how we might be feeling about this team heading into the 2025 season. So very interested to see the stats here. Offense finished 26th in the league. I don't love that. Amani Chambers looks like he had a decent, not a great year actually. Defense was almost dead last. 31st in the league. We're going to need to bring in some free agents. Thankfully, we're going to have the money to do so. Amani Chambers, though, best passer rating of the series so far. 4,600 yards, 32 touchdowns, 13 picks. I'm not complaining about those numbers whatsoever. Javonte, 1,200 with 15 scores. Judy, 1,205. Yeah, I think we let him go. Gabe Davis, 1,107. Alec Pierce, 958 and 6. Dulcich scores 10 times. Okay. And Enrique Giles barely saw the field, so that is a bummer. Sacks. Garrett Bowles lets up 11, of course, right after we re-sign him. Defensively, Oscar Luckett is the leading tackler. Caden Stearns right behind him. Sacks are going to be pretty ugly if I had to guess. 7 from Baron Browning. Yeah, not a whole lot going on there. Interceptions, we had 3 from Pat Surtain and 3 from Jalen Johnson. Okay, end of season results. The Commanders are world champs over the Steelers, 28-24. Cole Holcomb is Super Bowl MVP. Jalen Hurts is a 2-time NFL MVP. I am interested to see, do the Commanders still have Russell Wilson? Did Russell Wilson just win the Super Bowl? Here it is, Super Bowl 58, 59 by now. Let's look at the stats here. Who was the Commanders starting quarterback? It was, yeah. So Russell Wilson goes out and wins the Super Bowl with the Commanders. Who would have thought? So I guess well worth that first round pick for them. For anyone who might have thought that was too much value, he just got them a Super Bowl, same as he was supposed to do for Denver. What a shocker there. So here's what I'm going to do. I don't necessarily want to pay Jerry Jeudy long term, so what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to lowball him a little bit. He's not going to accept, and at that point I will franchise tag him, because with that gives me several options. I can either hold on to him, give him another year with us, if I'm not liking how the team is looking, especially at the receiver position, or once he's tagged, I can go ahead and trade him and at least get some value out of him, because there's no way I'm spending all $157 million of this in one offseason. So I can afford that $30 million franchise tag, and that still is going to leave us with quite a bit of money to spend. Now, is there anyone here we really want to bring back? I would actually say Quinn Miners is someone, so let's go ahead and get him here. Okay, so Quinn Miners is back. Anyone else that we want to re-sign? So I'm going through the whole list here, and I'm not really seeing anyone. However, Baron Browning is someone I will go ahead and retain. So he's got mild interest in us. I'll go ahead and throw him a player-friendly deal. It's still relatively cheap. And yes, Baron Browning is back, so that should be pretty good for us. Now let's get to free agency and have some real fun. And unfortunately, just as soon as we get money, it is a pretty weak free agent class, but we're going to try and make the most of it here. So Josh Sweat, we desperately need some help on the defensive line. He's got no interest, but we're going to throw some money at him, hope that works. James Daniels, same thing. I doubt we're able to land him, but thankfully we should be able to get another right guard in the draft. Odafe Owe, he fits a big need for us. I think we should be able to secure him. And Terrence Steele, he's got interest in us. The feeling is mutual, so that gives us something at the right tackle position. I'm hoping we can land at least 3 out of these 4 guys. Of course, now we're going to get some competition for Owe, and we only got one of them, Terrence Steele. Nice. Okay, so let's up the bid here on Owe a little bit. We'll go ahead and throw him a player-friendly deal. Hopefully that will get us back on top over the Falcons. I'll even increase the bonus just a little bit. It's still not a massive hit for a guy that's just 26. Is that going to be good enough for us? We're top of the list. Now we have even more competition. We'll give it one more go. We're all on the same tier here. Wasn't good enough. Unfortunately, that's just how free agency goes sometimes, but yeah, it's Terrence Steele. So here are our best available players, and you guys can see what I mean. Even the top available players, when we started free agency, the best player in the class was a 33-year-old DeAndre Hopkins. We don't need receiver right now. It was just unfortunately a very weak class all around as Josh Sweat goes to the Bears, which honestly, the guy's 28 years old. We were going to be paying him almost $20 million a year, which is insane for a player that age who is mid at best. It is a bummer, but the team is up to an 83 now, so we'll take a further look at that here in just a moment. But entering the draft, we definitely are going to have some needs to fill still. And as for what those needs are, here is what I'm thinking. So the nice thing is Chambers does get X Factor Dev, which is huge. He is still just a 79 for some reason. The XP just was not XPing the way I wanted it to. Javonte's an 88, so that's nice. I like what we have at receiver. Even if we let Judy go via trade, I think we still have plenty behind him. The offensive line is decent. We definitely need a right guard, and if we could get a high-level starter in free agency, I definitely would. But it's just they don't develop for some reason. I don't get it. I put coach points into boosting their XP, and they do not develop at all. At this point, we could use a new tight end. Dulcich has not done much of anything for us. Defensively, the line is a mess. I'm hoping that a good end prospect is available. We should have a pretty high pick in the first round. We could use another linebacker potentially. But yeah, aside from that, it is a bummer because we are just missing out on those high-level free agents. We're just not developing our own. I don't know why. They're just not growing the way that I like them to. We're getting a lot of hidden dev guys. It's just the team is so bad that none of them are growing how we would like to see them. So let's just skip forward here. We'll get ourselves to the draft and see if we can land ourselves an impact player. And here we are in the draft yet again. The Colts are picking first. We have the 7th pick, so a top 10 selection. I'm hopeful there's a blue chip prospect available there. Let's take a look at our draft board. Okay, so player I'm looking at here is Von Thompson. He does fit our scheme. We really have a need at the edge position. We're not getting any kind of pass rush so far. In the series, it's been very disappointing. So this guy, he is a speed rusher, pretty fast, a 4.61 for a guy who weighs, what, 262 pounds? I mean, he's not the heaviest guy in the world, but I think Von Thompson can be solid for us, and he does have hidden dev. So that hasn't meant a whole lot for us to this point. We have not seen a lot of our hidden dev guys really go off and do much, but hopefully Von Thompson will give us something as a top 10 draft pick. Okay, so next up on my list, I've got Glenn Kuhn here. He is 21 years old out of LSU. He's an outside linebacker, not the perfect scheme fit. He's a run stopper with B block shed, A pursuit, A to C tackle, and A to C zone, which I do like. He's a pretty solid athlete. Nothing really pops at you, but I'm going to go ahead and take Glenn Kuhn here. He does have normal dev, so I don't know how I feel about that, but let's just go ahead. Let's get to our 3rd round pick, and we'll go from there. So now I'm in the 3rd round here, and what I can do is, since this is an early 3rd, there really just are not a whole lot of great players left. I'm going to take a 2nd from a team that I feel might not perform incredibly well in 2026 or 2025, whenever the next season is. I am looking at the Panthers. They don't seem to usually do incredibly well. The Cowboys are always good. The Chiefs are usually good. Let's go with the Chargers here. I'll take a 2nd round pick from the Chargers, and hope that they just underachieve. We don't have a 4th, so let's get to the end of the draft here and see how our picks did and how the CPU rounded out our draft. So here's the draft recap, and it's not amazing on the surface. I'm hopeful that these guys can outperform expectations, but Von Thompson coming into the league 73 overall. Glenn Kuhn is a 74. The CPU got us a whole lot of nothing, I would argue. So that's your draft class. Let's get to the regular season. We'll take one quick look at the starting lineup, and then we'll see how this team does. It is up to an 83 overall, so we have grown and progressed slightly together, so that is a positive. Hopefully we can enter the season, get ourselves some wins, and at least just be competitive, man. Like, I'm tired of 5-12. I'm tired of the mediocrity. Let's get there. Let's hope for the best this season. And I've got to say, this is probably the furthest into a rebuild that a team that I've put together is just struggling this badly, because we didn't have money really to begin with. We had to be careful with Russell Wilson's contract. Then when we do get money the first year, it's a really weak free agent class. So hopefully, I'm going to go out and get us a center who can do better than whoever this is. We cannot have a 65 overall center out there. That is unacceptable. But aside from that, I think the offense can score some points and at least be average. The defense, it's really going to depend on the younger guys here. I'm going to go ahead and I don't know about Kuhn. I think Kuhn is probably going to ride the bench for a little bit behind Browning, because it is a decent difference in overall. Pat Surtain is up to a 94, so he's a stud. Jalen Johnson's a stud. We just don't really have a whole lot else going on outside of that. Maybe Shields can take a leap in year 2. But yeah, I'm going to get us a center, and then we'll get to the midseason point. And for my center position, the best that was available in free agency was a 66 John Feliciano. So I'm going to send a 4th and a 7th to the Jags for Luke Fortner. He's not great, but he's better than who we had. So now we can get into the season. So here we are at the midseason point, guys, and we're 2-5. This rebuild has just been a mess so far. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. What are people willing to offer us for Jerry Jeudy at this point? I have not been impressed with the offers so far, and oh my goodness, look, it's Josh Sweat. Oh, who would have thought? What if we take that, man? How petty would that be? I wonder what they paid for him. I'm actually going to do it. I don't care at this point. We need the help. So yeah, Josh Sweat, sorry buddy, but no matter how much you don't want to play for us, you're always going to end up back here. So welcome to the Broncos, and Jerry Jeudy is out the door. Now do we have anyone who needs to negotiate? Hopefully Josh Sweat is not one of them. He shouldn't be, and we're going to enter the offseason again with a boatload of cash. We do need to bring back Pat Surtain, who, just like everyone else, has no interest in us. Now Draymond Jones is expendable. Greg can go. And it's just a rough class here. Anyone at all really worth anything? I'm not seeing a ton here, so let's see. Surtain, what's it going to take? He has no interest right now. If I do a player friendly, what's that do? Okay. That's not going to do it for Mr. Patrick. I can bring back Tommy Townsend just so we can get our punter spot locked up for good, because I don't care about kicker and punter necessarily. Alec Pierce doesn't really have interest. We'll probably wait on him. Let me get Sweat into the starting lineup and make sure that Vaughn is still starting at the other side. And then we'll get to the playoffs, which, let's face it, guys, we're not making. But we'll try. We'll definitely try. And here we are yet again. Marginal improvement. We go 6-11. Let's take a look at the stats here and see how the offense managed to disappoint us again. They were actually 10th in the NFL, man. Amani Chambers, look at that. Defense was 24th, so the defense still bad, but man, if we can just get some good free agents in here, I think we might have something next year. I really do. Chambers, 5,000 yards though, 34 touchdowns, 14 picks, not bad at all. Javonte, 1,112, par for the course for him. Gabe Davis balled out. Alec Pierce did well for us, 1,107. Greg got 931 and 5. Giles got 606 and 3. Pretty good all-around production there. Terrence Steele lets up 13 sacks. We still don't have a long-term right tackle. Steve Whitmore's the leading tackler with 138. Did we get any pressure this year? 11.5 for Josh Sweat. Knowing how our defense has performed, we know that probably none of those were with us. 5 though for Jeff Shields. Okay, 4 for Browning. Let's see here. And Von Thompson got 1 sack as a rookie. Very nice. 5 picks for Steve Whitmore though, so he is coming into his own. I would hope that we got some good progression for him. 3 for Jalen Johnson, 2 for Oscar Luckett, and 2 for Deacon McBride. So some of our younger guys are starting to come into their own just a little bit. And I truly think if we can hit on the free agent class, just bring in a few studs. Like, we just need some dogs on both sides of the ball is what we're desperately missing at this point. I think we have the core in place. I think that we have like a competent roster overall. It's just we're missing that high-end talent. Outside of Surtain, what do we have? Nothing, honestly. And here is your Super Bowl 60 recap. So let's see here, the Rams, they are champs once again with quarterback Brian Finley as the Super Bowl MVP. Jalen Hurts is insane though, man. Let's see, he is a 3-time MVP, and the one time he didn't win MVP, he won Super Bowl MVP. So Jalen Hurts has had one heck of a career here in Madden. Absolutely insane, well-deserved. Love Jalen Hurts. So now it is time to negotiate again, and honestly, Pat Surtain, if you don't like the last offer that we submitted, oh, okay, that was easier than I thought. He must have come around a little bit. I was about to franchise tag him, but now we don't have to. Let's see if we can get Alec Pierce in here on a player-friendly deal. That's not even really expensive. He wants to play for a new team. That's fine. At least we can say we tried. We threw him a player-friendly deal. If he doesn't want that, that's on him. He's not getting franchise tagged. Draymond Jones, we don't need him anymore. Greg, we can do a player-friendly. That's not even going to be that expensive. Okay, he's going to test out free agency as well. And again, another player, not worth the franchise tag. Nick Bonito, we've drafted guys there. Tyquan Thornton has just not cracked the depth chart. Damari Mathis is a no. And then it looks like just a bunch of really low-level guys here. Let's see. Anyone at all? Yeah, no, I think we're good, guys. Let's get to free agency. Okay, so huge moment of truth here. I want to see who the available free agents are. Before we even look at the team, is this a good class? Please, man, let it be. Okay, so I see some high-level players here. George Kittle, that would immediately fill that tight end need that we have. I see Joe Thuney out there. We've got some help on the defensive line. I'm liking this class just on the surface. We're going to come back to it. Let's look at the roster and see what our needs are. Okay, so offensively, I immediately see a lack of depth on the O-line. Quinn Miners cannot play 2 positions at once, so we desperately need some help on the interior of the O-line. If we can get high-level starters anywhere, our best starter is an 81 overall. I want to do better than that. We got to get a tight end. I would say receiver, we could definitely use some help there. Another guy to go along with Gabe Davis. Chambers, though, is up to an 84. I like to see that, so he has grown. Defensive line, I would say maybe a new DT, potentially. Maybe someone else in the linebacking core. Honestly, at this point, I hate to say it, but McBride has not been getting it done at free safety. He's not grown at all. And I think we're still okay with Kyle Duggar probably, but yeah, definitely some holes to fill, so let's go fill them. Okay, so as you guys can see, I'm definitely not shy when it comes to spending some money this offseason. Doesn't mean we're going to get everyone, but we're definitely trying. We're putting ourselves in the race for George Kittle, still a 95 overall, just an absolute stud. Blocker, receiver, would add a whole new element to this offense. Joe Thuney, still one of the best guards in the game. We're square in the race for him, along with the Rams for both players. Kayvon Thibodeau has no interest in us whatsoever, but the guy's a stud. 25 years old, would be great on our defense. Drake London, I think we can probably get him. Nice compliment to what we already have. And Charles Cross to be the future of our left tackle position. So let's see here who is still left. They're all gone. If we hit on 3 of them, I'll be thrilled. We did. Okay. And the young guys too. That's fine with me. So we don't overpay for the vets. We get Kayvon, Drake London, and Charles Cross. And now we can go back and see who's still out there. So now in this second wave, I've got a whole new batch of guys I'm interested in. Jabril Peppers has a lot of interest in us. We've got a lot of interest in him. He's an X Factor, would love to get him in here. Jack Conklin, no interest in us, but beggars can't be choosers. Mike Hilton gives us a veteran in the secondary. Trey McBride could be our new starting tight end. I don't know why I'm fumbling my words today. And Juwan Johnson would give us a little bit of depth there. I'm most hopeful for, what's his face? Jabril Peppers. He's gone. Let's see if we can get McBride here. Okay, most likely. And where is, no, we didn't get Jabril Peppers. It's just such a bummer, guys. Sometimes that's just the way these rebuilds go in free agency, so we're still going to be searching, but we at least got ourselves some players here through free agency to bolster the team, at least give us something solid to work with. And now post free agency, here's a look at the team, and honestly, again, it's a solid team. Now, it's telling us it's an 87. I don't know how much I believe that, because in what world are you going to take these players and have them average out to an 87? Sure, you have a couple high-level starters at the skill positions, but overall, no, this is not an 87 overall offense. I expect that to change. Defensively, I think we're looking good there as well, and honestly, I'm kind of in the mood to where if we draft a guy, they're going to come in, they're going to be 76 to 78 overall tops. I don't know that that's going to compete with really anyone that we have on this roster. It might be time to consider possibly making some trades here. Let me see what kind of magic I can work. Okay, so big move here. We are going to trade Gabe Davis and Deacon McBride, a player who his contract is up. His rookie deal is almost going to expire here. He has been a bit of a disappointment. I have not really seen his name pop up in the stat sheet at all. The guy might have like 2 career interceptions at this point. So we are going to trade Gabe Davis, a position who he is another player whose contract is going to be up within a year. He's getting older. He'll be 28 years old, which for receivers, that is kind of when they start to fall off for Jesse Bates. And now remember, we do still have a high first-round draft pick. Receiver is a position I feel pretty confident in drafting. Safety, for some reason, just does not seem to work out. They just don't develop. So we're getting ourselves a stud here in Jesse Bates. And finally, before we get into the draft, we could use some depth on the O-line and the D-line. So just a couple low-level guys here. I think we should be able to bring all of them in relatively easily. Yes, they are all going to sign with us. So there, we got ourselves a pretty nice bunch here. And actually, I might try and get ourselves another receiver too, just to help with the loss of Gabe Davis. And so the guy I think we're going to go with here is going to be John Mechie. He is 26 at this point, 75 overall. Looks like he just unfortunately has not had a great chance to do much of anything in the NFL to this point, at least as far as Madden is concerned. So we are going to bring in John Mechie here on a cheap deal. Now let's go ahead and take a quick look at the roster heading into the draft. So I would say center is going to be a big need for us. I think we can easily upgrade on Ted Karras in the draft. We could definitely go receiver. I like Enrique Giles in the slot just because he's a shorter, quicker guy. So I definitely think a good 1 or 2 to go along with Drake London would be nice. Outside of that, I don't know that there's anything we can pick up in the draft that's going to be a big improvement for us. Maybe we go interior O-line even outside of center because we know Adams' contract will be up. I don't know if we're going to bring back a 79 overall right guard, especially if he doesn't have any interest in us, which we don't currently know. DT is a position of need for us. I would argue we don't have a lot of depth there, and just unfortunately not a lot of high-level talent either. So yeah, I would say interior O-line, receiver, and DT. Those are going to be our 3 areas of focus here in the draft. And we do have the 7th overall pick in the draft. Now, I have done some scouting on our positions of need. I don't see anyone worthy of a top 10 selection. I'm going to take this offer from the Packers. It's going to give us a first-round pick in this year's draft. We're trading back to 25, as well as a first in next year's draft. So I think that's great value for us. I'm going to go ahead and take that. So now at pick 26, I can go ahead and get the guy I was really hoping for. I thought he might still be available in this range. I'm glad that he was. It was between him and a DT. I'm going with Dwight Shields here. Center out of Texas, A awareness, A impact block, B pass block, A to C run block. Just very solid across the board. His athletics are pretty good too, so yeah, I think Dwight Shields will be a good pick for us. He does come with hidden dev, so for a center, definitely thrilled by that. I think he might have a chance to come in and immediately start, so late first round pick center, I'm happy with that. Okay, and next up on my list, round 2, pick 7. It is an early second round pick. So we're going with DT Ben Owens here out of Miami. C block shed, B finesse, A power moves, and A to C tackle. He's not the world's greatest athlete, but he is pretty strong, so I think Ben Owens should be a good pickup for us as well. Also hidden dev, so just look for those athletes, guys. Or if they're an A in a major category that you're looking for, like the power moves, I think that is going to be a great selection for us as well. Okay, and here, late second, this is a pick that we got via trade. This is a spot where I'm just not seeing a lot of great talent available. I'd like to get a pick in next year's draft, so that's what we're going to do here. Trading back with the Titans, we'll get a second in next year's draft and a fifth in next year's draft. I think that's great value for us, especially because this is our second to last year of the rebuild. We give it a full 5. We're heading into year 4, so I definitely think having some picks for that final year will be good for us. Now let's see if we can get someone here in the early third. Okay, so early third, I'm going to go with the best guard available. That is Dave Bryant out of Ohio. A to C awareness, A to C impact, C pass block, C run block. He doesn't blow me away by any means, really in any category, but we definitely could use the depth there. I think he could grow, so we'll take him. He's not, oh, he does have hidden dev. Okay, perfect. Now this one does actually come as a bit of a surprise to me. I don't know that he'll actually develop into anything, but the hidden dev certainly helps, so I am very happy about that. Now I think from here what I'm going to do is probably just let the CPU take over, but hey man, 3 hidden dev players in one draft class, definitely can't complain with that. I think it's been a solid class all around. I think we're in good shape heading into the year, I really do. I think this might finally be the season where we can have some optimism. So here is our draft recap. As far as overalls go, it's a bit of a weak class, I'm not going to lie. Dave Bryant, even with that hidden dev, he's a 65 overall, so I don't know that he'll ever be anything, unfortunately. Dwight Shields and Ben Owens, though, I think they both have a chance, so I think we had a pretty solid class all around. I'm not disappointed by it at all. Okay, now we do have a special pop-up message here. It says improve rookie. Now I do wonder what that could be about. We took Dwight Shields in the first round thinking he could be a big piece. Okay, what do we want him to work on? Definitely the pass blocking, so let's do that. And we are going to go with pass block finesse. I think that's going to fit our scheme. Okay, so that should actually give us a pretty good boost to Dwight Shields, +3 pass block finesse. Not complaining about that one bit, that's nice. And we do have a follow-up message about him, so let's see what this is about. Maybe we get another boost here. No, Jack Conklin will continue working with Dwight Shields. Okay, that's fine. We might get another boost before the season starts. Now we do have one here that says training camp standout. That always is a guaranteed boost, so the team does seem to have some momentum heading into the year, even though we've got an 0-2 record in the preseason so far. So who's standing out here? Kayvon. Okay, perfect. So do we want to improve his football IQ or his tackling? That's actually a tough one. I'm going to go with his play rec. Play rec just seems to help a little bit more across the board. So +5 play rec. Kayvon's going to know what's going on. He's going to lead the defense. I think that's a good thing for us. Now finally, before the season starts, we've got one more message here from Jack Conklin. So let's see what that is about. I've continued to work with Dwight Shields. Okay. What does that mean? Okay, Dwight Shields has 2,500 XP. Nice. That's good for us. So here's a look at the team heading into the season. Unfortunately, we weren't able to upgrade at receiver, but I still feel Drake London, Enrique Giles, and John Mechie can get the job done. Trey McBride hopefully can blossom into a nice receiving tight end for us. The line is looking solid. It's not bad. We don't necessarily have any elite players on this line, but there's no major weak links. I think Dwight Shields will be a good rookie center for us. Javante's up to a 90. Maybe if we still struggle after this season, we do go to a more run-heavy playbook because we do have such a good running back. Defensively here, let's go ahead and get Ben Owens into the starting lineup. And then outside of that, it's just a solid group. Secondary is actually looking really good. You've got Pat Surtain, Jalen Johnson, Jesse Bates, and Kyle Duggar. I mean, this is reminiscent of the no-fly zone when you had Chris Harris and Aqib Talib. So it's looking nice. I think that we can win some games this year. I'm thinking realistic expectation for me is 8-9. 8-9, and then hopefully we get a nice free agent class and a nice draft class, and year 5 is when we finally make our run. This has been a tough rebuild, but I'm thinking, there's an outside shot at the playoffs. I'm not going to rule it out. I'm going to say 10-7 is this team's absolute ceiling, but I wouldn't say that this is a bad team. I'd be shocked to see us 5-12 or 6-11 again. I really would. Okay, so mid-season point, we are 4-3, which to the best of my knowledge is the first winning record we've had at this point of the series, so it's been tough, but good news all around, and we are coming off a 27-7 win against Mahomes and the Chiefs, so maybe this is our year to at least make the playoffs. Not our year to win the Super Bowl, I wouldn't imagine. That would be incredible, but let's see whose contracts might be up. Okay, so Michael Adams, he just wants a one-year deal. I think we can easily do that for him. Heck, we'll go player friendly. We'll even do a 3-year deal. He's 24 years old. Yeah, I think that's a bargain for us for a starting right guard. Oscar Luckett's got no interest, but what has Oscar Luckett done so far? Andrew Norwell was a rental. Anyone else? I'm really not seeing anyone, guys. Deshaun Goodwell, the fullback that we were so excited about. I mean, maybe he's made a difference. I don't know that for sure. Maybe if we can get Luckett back on something cheap, we do it. Because he is a 79 overall, he's still pretty young. He is someone that we drafted, but I don't know. I'm not completely sold on the idea. Let's get to the playoffs. We're going to upgrade our players here really quick, so we'll do that. That way we've got a better team heading into the second half of the year, where we have really enjoyed collapsing. Hopefully this upgrade, though, will give us that boost that we need. We can finish the year on a high note and finally make the playoffs for the first time. That would be incredible. And we have finally done it. The longest playoff drought seemingly ever is over. We get in with a 10-7 record. We got to look at the schedule here. How did this team do it? How did we finally pull off the first playoff berth of the series? Let's go to our team schedule here. Regular season, we were 4-3 at the midseason point. So a couple straight wins, 3 straight losses, massive winning streak. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight, 7 straight wins, a loss, a win, and then unfortunately 3 straight losses to end the year. Ugly one against the Steelers. Chiefs get revenge, and then we do lose to the Rams in a close one. So man, honestly, had it not been for those last 3 games, we could be looking at top seed in the conference right now. Incredible to think about. Let's look at the stats though. So we do finish with the 14th offense in the NFL, not bad. Defense was 12th, so decent in both categories, good enough to get the job done. Let's look at the individual stats here. So Amani Chambers, almost 5,000 yards, 36 touchdowns, 8 picks, passer rating of 102. That's efficiency, that's what we're looking for here. In the run game, Javonte, 1,116. He picks up, what is his yards per carry? I don't know why I'm not finding it here. Okay, 4.4 a carry, so not bad. Receiving, John Mechie, look at him, man. Comeback player of the year, 1,300 yards, 11 scores, 1,207 for Drake London, 1,007 for Enrique, 836 and 4 for Trey McBride, and Javonte adds 404 through the air. Sacks, how did we do? Okay, I guess. Double digit from both of our tackles. Tackling, speaking of tackles, we got 130 from Steve Whitmore, 123 from Oscar Luckett, the soon-to-be free agent. Sacks, we got 13 from Jeff Shields, man. Finally, we get some growth from these draft picks. Josh Sweat gets 8, 4.5 for Kayvon, 2.5 for Von Thompson. Let's see, did our rookie get any? I'm looking for him. I'm not seeing anything here. Ben Owens, no. 22 tackles. Okay, interceptions. We got 4 from Okuda, 4 from Jalen Johnson, 4 from Surtain, so secondary was clearly getting it done, and 3 from the new guy, Jesse Bates. Kayvon gets 1, Oscar Luckett, Steve Whitmore, and Kyle Duggar, so quite a few takeaways. I love to see that. I did want to take a quick look at the yearly awards just to point out that Amani Chambers did get some MVP votes, so love to see that. We actually come in 3rd for Coach of the Year. Offensive Player of the Year, Javonte gets some votes. Defensive Player of the Year, nothing for us. Actually, Jeff Shields does get some. Offensive Rookie of the Year, we're not going to have anyone. Defensive Rookie of the Year, no. Okay, we'll leave it at that. But yeah, pretty solid all around, guys. Now, we do get a home playoff game against the Titans, 12-5 against 10-7. We're better on paper, but of course we know from prior rebuilds that never really means anything. I'm sure they still have Derrick Henry back there wreaking havoc. They do have Trey Lance, who is their running back. Yeah, it's Derrick Henry, so we're going to want to make sure to try and shut him down as best as we can. We'll want to make sure to shut down Jeff Simmons. Let's do our training, we'll upgrade our players, and we'll see if we've won our first playoff game of the series. It would be massive for us. Okay, moment of truth. We win 35-27. We've got our first playoff win of the series, guys. Let's go. Oh my goodness. What a thriller right there, man. 35-27. What a way to start things off. And we get the Ravens in the divisional. Broncos-Ravens, classic matchup right there. If you know, you know. But anyways, let's take a look quickly at the stats from that first playoff win. So they actually do outgain us in total yardage. Chambers has a solid playoff debut, not really eye-popping, but he takes care of the football. Same deal for Trey Lance. Very similar numbers in the passing game. In the run game, Derrick Henry did what he could, but Javonte did a little bit more with a lot less. Almost 10 yards per carry. That is incredible from Javonte. Let's see here. Van Jefferson's a tight end. Trey McBride does score. Defensively, what did we do? Steve Whitmore had 11 tackles. Very nice. Sacks. We had, let's see here, none. Okay, that's interesting. Interceptions, there were none. I do wonder where all the scoring came from. It was a pretty high-scoring game, and I mean, one passing touchdown each. Okay, here's what it was. Keontae Randall, I missed out on him. He also had 2 rushing scores. So run game got it done for us. Let's see if they can do that against Baltimore. And of course we know Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, always a difficult matchup. I think we're going to go defend outside run. We're going to want to keep Lamar in the pocket, force him to beat us as a passer, which he definitely can do. And then I always go blitz counter for defense. We'll do this. We'll upgrade any players that we might have available, and let's see if we're moving on to the conference championship, guys. And here we go. Biggest game of the series so far. 2 very evenly matched teams. Records, overalls. Who comes out on top? We do. 34-28. We are headed to Buffalo. Oh my goodness. And man, what a run. 3 straight losses to end the regular season, but we heat up just at the right time, man. Playoffs begin and we turn it on. 541 yards of total offense. Lamar has a great game, but so does Amani Chambers. 328, 2 touchdowns, no picks. No picks for either side. Javonte is just tearing it up in the playoffs, man. 180 yards and 2 scores. Oh my goodness. Lamar gets 2 rushing scores. Keontae Randall finds the end zone. Rashad Bateman has a good game. Drake London over 100 yards. Same for Mark Andrews. John Mechie scores twice for us. Wow, man, what a game. Leading tackler again is Steve Whitmore with 13 sacks. We got 1 from DJ Jones, 1 from Ben Owens. Okay, there's the rookie. Love to see that. And interceptions, of course, we know were none. But man, toughest challenge here of the series. Buffalo Bills, let's look at it. And here they are. So Devin Singletary, definitely not going to be the guy we want to focus on. It, of course, is going to be 99 overall Josh Allen and that absolute cannon he has. We'll want to shut down Greg Rousseau as well. Can we beat the Bills? Can we advance to the Super Bowl? The Ravens, I felt, were iffy. The Bills are about twice as iffy, so it's going to be a big one here. It is going to be a big one. Huge game here. Biggest game for the Broncos since Peyton Manning was in town. Can we get it done? No, we lose 49-28. We are moving on to the offseason as it'll be Bills, Packers, and Super Bowl 61. Disappointment, but we definitely exceeded expectations in year 4 of the rebuild. Let's look at the stats though. We put up points, they just put up a lot more. Allen was perfect. Chambers did struggle his first bad game, I would say, of the playoffs. They sacked him 7 times, though. I mean, what are you going to do with that? Javonte had a good game. Singletary scored twice. Garrett Wilson is a Bill. That's fitting because he is like the next coming of Stevie Johnson. So Garrett Wilson and Stephon Diggs, good luck, man. Mechie scored. Lindsey Bartow, who I believe I recognize his name from prior rebuilds. Who was letting up the sacks, though, man? Who was sucking it up? Matt Adams. Michael Adams, excuse me, and Jack Conklin. What a rough game they had. Jalen Johnson's the leading tackler, who was wreaking havoc on us. Greg Rousseau had 5 sacks, man. Game of his career right there, and 2 for Draymond Jones. We do get 1 from Jeff Shields and 1 from Josh Sweat. Interceptions, Tre'Davious White had 2 on us. So their defense just had a field day with us. Turnovers, I feel, were the difference. It's tough. I think they're just the better team right now. I think we're still a year away, and that's okay. We exceeded expectations, and that's what we are aiming to do here this season. So let's get to the offseason. Who wins the Super Bowl? I'm going to say Bills 35-14 over the Packers. Final score. It's going to be Bills 27-21. Okay, let's look at our recap here. So it is the Bills. Ed Oliver, Super Bowl MVP. Very interesting. Okay. And now it is time for our final offseason of the series. This is going to be it for us. We're going to enter with around $96 million in cap. So Oscar Luckett, despite his low level of interest, I would like to bring him back. So let's go ahead here. It's going to be a bit of an overpay, but I'd like to have him. So Oscar Luckett is going to stick around. I am proud of myself here for the fact that we have retained most of our drafted talent. Even though no one has really, blown us away. I think Keontae Randall has earned himself an extension as well to be the RB2. Because he did play pretty well for us in the playoffs. He got some scores, so I think Keontae Randall deserves the contract extension. And Brandon McManus, the guy's a 66 overall. We can do better than McManus. Anyone else here we feel we should bring back? Not really, man. Not really at all. I will go ahead. We'll bring back Deshaun Goodwell. We'll send him a player-friendly deal as well. And again, this is still going to leave us with plenty of money to spend, guys. I don't want us to worry about that a whole lot. Anyone else here at all? Anyone that we feel can make a difference? No. So we're not losing anyone really, and we're still going to have around $80 million to spend. I definitely think that in year 5, we've set ourselves up to be Super Bowl contenders. So fingers crossed, hopefully free agency gives us some talented players in the market. We have to look. Let's find out. Okay, and unfortunately, it is probably the weakest class we've seen so far. There's Gabe Davis, the guy that we just traded away. Of course, they weren't smart enough to retain him. That would be the Bengals, so I love that. That's not our fault, though. There's nothing we can do about that. Mr. Rub and Tug is out here, and then outside of that, it's just a bunch of mid-80s guys. Thankfully, though, with the money that we have to spend, I still think we can bring in a couple difference makers. Let's take a quick look at our team and see who we might actually be interested in bringing in here. Okay, so realistically, I'm looking low 80s. So for me, that is going to be receiver 3. We could probably use another wide receiver. Maybe we bring back Gabe Davis, although that would feel a little bit cheap considering we just traded him. Dalton Shields or Dallas Shields, whatever his name is, he's progressed nicely as a rookie. He's up to an 80 overall, so I'm not looking to replace him. Truly no one on this O-line outside of maybe right tackle. Maybe we upgrade on Jack Conklin. If there's a better tight end out there than Trey McBride, maybe we go that route, but I think the team's looking okay on that side of the ball. Defensively, do we go DT? Maybe we get ourselves another defensive end if possible. I think that is certainly out there as an option for us, but yeah, it's a good team, guys. Maybe we get ourselves another linebacker, although we did just bring back Oscar Luckett. I don't know. I don't hate what we have. I don't want to blow it all up. Okay, so here's who we're going for. A lot of these guys are going to be depth pieces, but depth helps teams win championships. So first off, we're going Larry Spencer. He would step in and be either our number 3 or number 4 corner along with Jeff Okuda. I think that'd be good for us. Del Bonds, I would like as our RB2. Calvin Ridley could step in and be our wide receiver 3. I think that would be a nice role for him. Younghoe Koo, get ourselves a kicker, and Hunter Young to come in and be our backup center. Give us some depth on the O-line, high quality depth at that, and a younger guy. Can we retain or pick up these guys? They're all gone. And we brought in 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. Okay, so not bad at all. We got ourselves the corner. We got Calvin Ridley, Younghoe Koo, and Hunter Young. So yeah, not bad at all. And since we lost out on Dell Bonds, I'd like a better RB2 than what we currently have, so we're going to throw our names in the hat for A.J. Dillon. We're not top of his list, but if we could keep him away from the Broncos, that'd be amazing. We cannot. Is anyone else out there that we could bring in as RB2? No, I think I'm probably going to stick with who we've got. So, yeah, we're going to leave it, unfortunately. Now here's the part of the video where we make the blockbusters, and hear me out on this one. Of course it's an overpay, 3 first-round picks for Myles Garrett, but the guy is a 98 overall. Our pass rush has left, I would say, a decent amount to be desired throughout the entire series, so you get a guy like Myles Garrett in here. I think this pushes us over the hump. I really do. I think that this is our last piece to get ourselves a Super Bowl. So let's go ahead and let's get the draft out of the way and let's see how we're feeling. And on second thought, guys, forget the draft. It's the last year of the rebuild. Who are we really going to bring in that's going to help us win this year? We're going to send our second round pick this year, a second next year for TJ Hawkinson. We are going to forego the draft entirely. And if you disagree with that, that's okay. But we now have gotten ourselves 2 pieces that I feel this team was sorely missing and lacking on. And I think we're Super Bowl contenders. I really do. So let's get into the season. Let's take a look at the roster. Now I do want to take a quick look at the draft recap. The CPU did use a second round pick that we had on Leo Bridges, receiver out of Ohio State. Okay, that's fine. They also took a tight end for us, both decent overall players, not horrible. And maybe I'm doing this wrong by skipping the draft, but at the end of the day, guys, it's year 5. A low 70s player is just not going to crack the lineup for us or make a major difference, and that is just the facts. Now before we get into the season, we do have a training camp standout here, and it is going to be Jeff Shields. Okay, so that's our DT. We want to focus on rushing the passer. We definitely want those sacks to get up. Everything else last year took a major step in the right direction, and sacks were as good as they've been, but still not quite what we're looking for, so that's good news for us. We'll take that. And here we are for the final time. Starting at week 1, of course it's a matchup with the Bills. We're actually better on paper now than they are, so that is a positive sign for us. The team is an 88 overall. Let me upgrade the players here quickly, and we'll take a look at our final week 1 starting roster. Not that these 2 guys are going to make a difference, but you never know. So here we go. So Amani Chambers, he's going to have Javonte Williams, Drake London, Enrique Giles, both 85 pluses. Hawkinson, 93 superstar. I would say probably the best O-line that we've had so far of the series. Couple guys that we drafted have developed in Shields and Adams, so I am happy about that. Jack Conklin hopefully can hold up for us. I know he's getting up there in age. Maybe we make a trade at the deadline if he's still disappointing. But DT, we could use a little bit of depth there. I think I might go out and get one guy. Pass rush should be a lot better though now with Myles Garrett added in here. The linebacking core is looking as good as ever, and the secondary is still elite. So I truly believe this is a Super Bowl team. My final record prediction is going to be 12-5. Okay, and here we are, mid-season point. We are right on track, 5-2. Things are going well. I do want to take a quick look, see who's up to negotiate, see how we've managed the cap. We're going to enter with $67 million with Jesse Bates, Jalen Johnson, TJ Hawkinson, Quinn Miners, Josh Sweat, Kyle Duggar, Enrique Giles, Jeff Shields, Baron Browning, and Jack Conklin, not to mention a few other guys as well. So, man, had this not been year 5, that we would be in a tough spot right now. But thankfully, we're not incredibly worried about that. This is the final year. I'm even going to look at the stats here quickly just to see how our protection is held up, see if we have any major weak points where we can address with a trade. So as of right now, offense is 8th in the NFL. Defense is coming in at 11th. Okay, solid in both categories. You know what? I think I'm going to leave it as is. Points scored, I don't know what that means. It's not giving us a number there. Points allowed is 3rd. So we're doing very well right now. I'm not going to mess with anything. Let's get to the playoffs. Okay, so playoffs are here, and actually I believe my prediction was spot on. We go 12-5. Unfortunately, that's only good enough for a wild card team as the Chiefs win the division at 13-4, but still 12-5, we're happy with that. So here's the schedule. So we could not beat the Bills in the rematch. They beat us by 10 this time. We go on a nice little win streak, lose a close one to the Raiders. That hurt. Win a couple here. We lose to the Chiefs in a close one. Again, that could have been the difference in the division. We get a win over the Vikings, a big one, 42-7. The Chiefs get us again by 17, so we get swept by Kansas City. We go on a huge win streak and unfortunately lose to the Steelers in Week 18, although that wouldn't have mattered a whole ton because we would have been tied with the Chiefs, and they had the better record than us, so regardless, the Chiefs were winning the AFC West. But still, man, that is a bummer for sure that we couldn't get the victory over them. So offense, they actually struggled down the stretch, finishing 19th. I don't like to see that. Defense was top 5 though, so I'm guessing Myles Garrett paid some dividends for us. Chambers, he actually regresses a little bit in passer rating, 4,600 yards, 35 touchdowns, 17 picks, completion percentage of just 62. I don't love that by any means. Javonte is Javonte. Receiving game, Calvin Ridley, nice. Enrique Giles, Drake London, TJ Hawkinson. Bit of a step down in the passing game, I won't lie. And then Charles Cross and Jack Conklin, maybe we should have made a move at tackle, but still, they're serviceable. Luckett is our leading tackler with 121. Now let's look at the sacks. I am interested here, so Myles Garrett, yep, 22.5, big get for us there. 10 for Sweat, 9.5 for Shields, nothing else really outside of those 3. Interceptions, 5 for Pat Surtain, 3 for Whitmore, 3 for Jalen Johnson, 2 for Okudah, then we have a couple more here from Kayvon, Kyle Duggar, and Jesse Bates. And now the question is, can we take care of business against the Texans? They're coming in with a 9-8 record. Well, actually, we're coming to them. They've got Dameon Pierce here, so he is still an absolute stud, 92 overall. We want to make sure to take care of Justin Herbert. That is our focus. And they also have Rashawn Gary, so they have some talent, don't get me wrong. It's going to be a tough game. If we go one and done, I will be severely disappointed. It's not out of the question, though. Can we get the win against the Chargers? Or not against the Chargers, against the Chargers' former quarterback in Justin Herbert. Let's upgrade our players here and let's find out. Now on paper, it should be us. It really should be, but with these rebuilds, you never know. Are we going to go one and done here? Yes, we will. 27-26, that's going to do it, guys. What a bummer. So our ceiling was a conference championship appearance. Oh, that is a massive bummer for us here. What a shame, what a shame. 26-27, man, a 1-point loss. Are you kidding me? Herbert, not a great game. Chambers throws 3 interceptions, bro. Come on now. Nothing in the run game. Hawkinson, though, 15 catches, 156 and a score. Oh my goodness. Defensively, Jesse Bates, our leading tackler. Myles Garrett got 2 sacks. Who was picking us off, man? 2 for Kevin Byard, 1 for Rhett Poole. Jeff Okudah does get 1. Okay. And here's your recap. So the Raiders are world champs, so 3rd in the AFC West, but it doesn't matter once the playoffs come around. Eddie Gates is Super Bowl MVP. They beat the Packers 38-20, not even really close. Myles Garrett does win Defensive Player of the Year, and that is your recap. And honestly, guys, it doesn't feel right to end it on this note. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to do a quick little speed run. We are going to see who we can bring back as much as possible here. We are going to go for one more Super Bowl. It's going to be a super quick run. Again, very lightning quick. Let me re-sign our players here. We're slowly checking them off the list. The cap space is dwindling, but we are retaining our talent. This is our core. This is who got us here. Let's go ahead and get Quinn Miners back. He has been here since the very beginning. We're just chugging down the list here. We still have some money. I'm not paying a major amount of attention. I would like to get Josh Sweat in here, if I may. He's going to stay around. Okay. Who else we got left? Okay, Kyle Duggar. We want him. Definitely want Duggar. He's going to test out free agency. That's fine. Who else we got? Jeff Shields. Ooh, yeah, we definitely want to get Jeff Shields in here. We're running out of money, but Jeff Shields is back. We got around $9 million left to spend. So Enrique Giles likely going to hit the market. Baron Browning. Okay. So we're not going to have a lot of holes. That is good. Can we get Enrique, though? What kind of deal is he going to be wanting? A neutral deal? He's not interested. Okay. So that's a no for Enrique. Can we get anyone back here with that kind of money? What about Barron? Barron we should be able to. I think we should be able to get Baron Browning back. Okay. Now we're going to need a safety and a receiver in the draft, so we'll take care of that. But yeah, we're in pretty good shape, guys. I think we're going to be okay here. So before the draft, here's what we're working with. So receiver actually not as big of a hole as I thought. I kind of forgot Calvin Ridley was here, but still would like to get better there. We need some depth on the O-line. Adams cannot start at right tackle, so we need a right tackle. I'm guessing Jack Conklin decided to retire. So receiver, right tackle, and then defensively, what do we need? A strong safety, and probably some depth at DT. So again, it's going to be receiver, right tackle, strong safety, and DT. Those are our positions. Let's see if we can fill them in the draft. Okay, now this is my mistake, guys. Thinking that last year was the last year, of course we know I kind of cheaped out on my draft capital, but I'm going to have to go with the best right tackle available here just because strictly we don't have one. So we're going with Michael Jarrett, B to D awareness, B to D impact block, B pass block, and F run block. Thankfully we need a pass protector, so Michael Jarrett, welcome to the team. Normal dev, not a surprise. And back again in the 5th round. I figure if we only have one on the roster, that's probably not going to cut it. Maybe the second guy is a little bit better for us. Keegan Spencer out of Alabama. B awareness, B to D impact, B to D pass block, and F run block. So again, another guy, he's not going to run block well, but we got to take what we can get, normal dev. And honestly, I'm going to let the CPU take it from here. Maybe they can have better success than we had, and let's get to the end of the draft. Okay, so here is your draft recap. Not a guy higher than 66. Okay. Rough draft class, but still the team is looking pretty good, so hopefully we can get it done. Alright, so hear me out, guys. I tried a 3rd, I tried a 2nd. A 1st round pick is what it's going to take to get Sam Cosmi from the Commanders. I get it, it's an overpay, but a starting right tackle in the preseason who's going to fit our budget, pretty low cap hit, we had to do it. We had to fill that weakness. We could not be out here trotting out a 66 overall right tackle when we're trying to get to the Super Bowl. So that's a done deal. And here we are, week 1 again, this time truly for the final time. Now I haven't upgraded my players, so I'm sure they'll go up slightly, but let's look again. Final look at the roster. We're not even going to worry about the midseason. We're just going to get straight to the playoffs and hope that we made it. So, Amani Chambers, 91 overall. They took away his X Factor, so he is now just a superstar. That's a bit of a bummer. Drake London's an 87. We have a decent receiving core, good enough, especially when you factor in Hawkinson. Cosmi, I'm glad we got him. The O-line is looking very nice. They've actually grown together pretty solidly, I would say. Defensively, I would say, again, we're looking pretty good. I might want to go out and get a DT just because we have literally no depth there. We could use at least a DT3. But yeah, we're looking good. Strong safety might be an issue for us, but it's not the end of the world, guys. Let's get to the playoffs. My final projection is going to be 10-7, hopefully. Okay, and here we are again. A 12-5 record for, I believe, the 2nd straight year. Again, we get the Texans, but this time it's at home. Can we get revenge? Let's take a quick look at those stats, see how the year played out for us. I am curious to see. I know offense was pretty rough last year, but I think we had to have been better. Yes, 8th in the league. Love to see that. And defense comes in at 25th. Okay, so it was a bit of a role reversal there. Don't love that. Amani Chambers back on track, 5,000 yards, 38 touchdowns, 6 picks, passer rating of 109. Javonte is Javonte. Receiving game, Drake London, Leo Bridges over 1,000 yards. Okay, someone the CPU took for us. And let's see, 11 touchdowns for the gambler himself. Blocking, how'd we do? Much better. Sam Cosmi. Huge improvement over Jack Conklin. Defensively, Steve Whitmore leading tackler again. Sacks, I have to imagine, would take a step down. No, Myles Garrett got 23, so he was just the heart and soul of our defense. I don't know why we struggled so bad. 5 picks for Jalen Johnson, 4 for Steve Whitmore, 3 for Okudah, 2 for Luckett. Surtain and Larry Spencer each get 1. Okay. And of course, we all know this is the exact same team that bounced us last year. They upset us. We had the better team, I feel. Can we get it done against them this time around? I'm not going to go blitz counter. I'm going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to upgrade our players one final time here before this Texans game. And can we beat them? And this is it, guys. Last chance to get a playoff win. If we go one and done against the Texans 2 straight years, oh my freaking goodness, we did it. 33-28, guys, and that's going to do it. I'm not even going to bother to look at the stats. An L is an L. Can the Texans at least make the most of it? If the Texans don't win the Super Bowl, then this will all have been for nothing. I mean, good for them that they are our kryptonite. And no, it's the Raiders. The Raiders go back-to-back. They come out of nowhere. Were they third in the West again? I think they were. And Max Crosby is Super Bowl MVP. Oh my goodness. Myles Garrett does win Defensive Player of the Year for the 2nd straight year. But yeah, guys, the Raiders are 2-time world champs. That is the series. If you've stuck with me to this point, I truly don't know how you've done it, but thank you. And I will see you guys in the next video.